Nils Adolf Erik Nordenskiöld was a Finnish and Swedish baron, geologist, mineralogist, and Arctic explorer. He was a member of the prominent Finland-Swedish Nordenskiöld family of scientists. Born in the Grand Duchy of Finland at the time it was a part of the Russian Empire, he was later, due to his political activity, forced to move to Sweden, where he later became a member of the Parliament of Sweden and of the Swedish Academy. He led the Vega expedition along the northern coast of Eurasia in 1878 to 1879. This was the first complete crossing of the Northeast Passage. Nordenskild family. The Nordenskiölds were an old Finland-Swedish family, members of the nobility. Nordenskild's father, Nils Gustav Nordenskiöld, was a prominent Finnish mineralogist, civil servant and traveller. He was also a member of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Adolf Erik was the father of Gustav Nordenskiöld and ULAN Nordenskiöld and maternal uncle of Nils Otto Gustav Nordenskiöld. Nils Otto Gustav Nordenskjöld's parents were cousins, Otto Gustav Nordenskiöld and Anna Elizabeth Sophia Nordenskiöld, who was the sister of Adolf Erik Nordenskiöld. The Swedish side of the family used the spelling Nordenskiöld, whereas the Finnish side of the family used the Nordenskiöld spelling. Early life and education. Nordenskiöld was born in 1832 in Helsinki, the capital of Finland, but he spent his early youth on the family estate in Mäntsälä. He went to school in Porvoo, a small town on the south coast of Finland. He then entered the Imperial Alexander University in Helsinki in 1849, where he studied mathematics, geology, and applied himself especially to chemistry and mineralogy. He received his master's degree in 1853. 2 years later he published his doctoral dissertation, entitled Om Graphitens och Chondroditens Kristallformer. Upon his graduation, in 1853, Nordenskiöld accompanied his father to the Ural Mountains and studied the iron and copper mines at Tagisk. On his return he received minor appointments both at the university and the mining office. Political activity and exile. Having studied under Runeberg, he belonged to liberal, anti-Tsarist circles that agitated for Finland's liberation from Russia by the Swedes during the Crimean War, and an unguarded speech at a convivial entertainment in 1855 drew the attention of the Imperial Russian authorities to his political views, and led to a dismissal from the university. He then visited Berlin, continuing his mineralogical studies, and in 1856 obtained a traveling stipend from the university in Helsinki and planned to expend it in geological research in Siberia and Kamchatka. In 1856, Nordenskiöld was also appointed docent in mineralogy at the university. In 1857 he aroused the suspicion of the authorities again, so that he was forced to leave Finland, practically as a political refugee, and was deprived of the right of ever holding office in the University of Finland. He fled to Sweden. In 1863, he married Anna Maria Mannerheim, the aunt of Carl Gustaf Emil Mannerheim. Settling in Stockholm and Arctic exploration, Nordenskiöld settled in Stockholm, and soon he received an offer from Otto Torell, a geologist, to accompany him on an expedition to Spitsbergen. To the observations of Torell on glacial phenomena, Nordenskiöld added the discovery at Bellsound of remains of tertiary plants, and on the return of the expedition he received the appointment of a curator and director of the mineralogical department of the Swedish Museum of Natural History and a professorship in mineralogy at the Swedish Academy of Sciences. He was also awarded the 1869 Royal Geographical Society's his founder's gold medal. Nordenskjöld's participation in 3 geological expeditions to Spitsbergen, followed by longer Arctic explorations in 1867, 1870, 1872 and 1875, led him to attempt the discovery of the long-sought Northeast Passage. This he accomplished in the voyage of the Vega, navigating for the first time the northern coasts of Europe and Asia. Starting from Karlskrona on the 22nd of June 1878, the Vega doubled Cape Chelyuskin in the following August, and after being frozen in at the end of September near the Bering Strait, completed the voyage successfully in the following summer. He edited a monumental record of the expedition in 5 volumes, and himself wrote a more popular summary in 2 volumes. On his return to Sweden he received an enthusiastic welcome, and in April 1880 was made a baron and a commander of the Order of the North Star. In 1883, he visited the east coast of Greenland for the 2nd time, and succeeded in taking his ship through the Great Ice Barrier, a feat attempted in vain during more than 3 centuries. The captain on the Vega expedition, Louis Palander, was made a nobleman at the same time, and took the name Palander af Vega. In 1893, Baron Nordenskiöld was elected to the 12th chair of the Swedish Academy. A historian of early cartography. As an explorer, Nordenskiöld was naturally interested in the history of Arctic exploration, especially as evidenced in old maps. This interest in turn led him to collect and systematically study early maps. He is today remembered for 2 substantial monographs which both included many facsimiles on early printed atlases and geographical mapping and medieval marine charts, respectively. The facsimile atlas to the early history of cartography and Periplus. He left his huge personal collection of early maps to the University of Helsinki, and it was inscribed on UNESCO's Memory of the World Register in 1997. Expeditions. In 1858, 1861, and 1864 he went with expeditions to Spitsbergen, and in 1868 he went in a small vessel farther north than any vessel had ever been in the Eastern Hemisphere. In 1861 he took part in Torell's second Spitsbergen expedition, and in 1864 he led the expedition promoted by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. In 1870 he visited Greenland, and in 1871 went again to Spitsbergen and stayed there all winter, nearly starving to death. In the expeditions of 1872 and 1875, he headed a well-organized expedition in the iron steamer Sophia, and reached the highest northern latitude then attained in the Eastern Hemisphere. In 1875, he went to the Yenisei River in Siberia in a small vessel, which he sent back while he went up the river and returned home by land. The next year he went to the United States and was a juror at the Centennial Exhibition. In 1878 he sailed around the north coast of Asia, returning home by way of the Bering Strait, being the first to make the whole length of the Northeast Passage. This he accomplished in the voyage of the Vega, navigating for the first time the northern coasts of Europe and Asia. Starting from Karlskrona on the 22nd of June 1878, the Vega doubled Cape Chelyuskin in the following August, and after being frozen in at the end of September near the Bering Strait, completed the voyage successfully in the following summer. In 1882 to 1883 second Dixon expedition, he took the vessel Sophia to the Disco Bay where, together with 3 SAAMI, he made an expedition to the inland ice sheet. He expected the interior of Greenland to be ice-free and perhaps covered in forests. Nordenskiöld quickly had to give up due to technical problems, but the SAAMI penetrated 230 kilometers eastward before returning. On the east coast of Greenland, the expedition penetrated the Great Ice Barrier as the first after 300 years of attempts, and landed at Ammassalik 65 degrees 37 N.I., only slightly to the north of where Wilhelm August Graf was forced to turn his Umiak expedition round in 1830. Honors. Nordenskiöld Archipelago, an island group in the Kara Sea off the Siberian coast. Laptev Sea had been originally named Nordenskiöld Sea after this Arctic explorer. Nordenskiöld Fjord in Peary Land, Greenland. Nordenskiöld crater on Mars. Nordenskiöld was the main motif for a Finnish commemorative coin of 2007, the 10 euros Adolf Erik Nordenskiöld and Northeast Passage commemorative coin. The issue celebrated the 175th anniversary Nordenskjöld's birth and his discovery of the Northeast Passage.